My name is Michael Johnson, and I'm a middle school boy. I come from a single-parent family, but I don't really know the reason behind it. I think it had something to do with my dad finding another woman or something like that. So, my parents got divorced when I was in elementary school. My parents used to fight all the time since I was young, and it always scared me. My mom cried countless times, begging my dad to stop his affairs, but I don't think he ever felt any remorse. It seemed like my mom finally realized that nothing she said would make a difference, and she decided to get a divorce. After that, our financial struggles just got worse. Even though my dad did visit me after the divorce, he never paid any child support to my mom. I had no idea about this, so I always wondered why we were so poor. I thought things might have been a bit better if we received some child support, but it seemed like my mom had given up on that idea. It was a struggle to have 3 meals a day. I brought only a slice of bread to lunch for school. That's why some people called me poor. So, no matter what anyone said, I had to put up with insufficient lunch. For breakfast, I would just have plain toast, and my drink would be just water. Dinner was just a fried egg with soup, which is tough for a growing boy like me. I was always hungry because of this. My mom did try to make homemade sweets, but to be honest, they weren't very tasty. They were just fried bread crusts or something like a pancake but without sugar, and since my mom was never good at cooking, they didn't taste very good. But I couldn't waste them or make my mom feel bad, so I ate them anyway. I imagined other families might spread jam on their bread or turn bread crusts into sugary rusks, but we couldn't afford such luxuries. I was always craving sugar, so I would secretly lick a little bit of the sugar my mom used sparingly, just to satisfy my cravings. I hated my dad for not paying child support, which made us live this poor life. I also thought that if my mom had been a bit more assertive with my dad, maybe she could have gotten some child support. But I couldn't really blame her. She was exhausted from work every day, so it was impossible for her to say anything. Then, I started middle school. I attended the local public middle school. We were so poor that we couldn't afford new uniforms or a school bag, so my mom asked an older boy in our neighborhood for hand-me-downs. They weren't too worn out, but obviously, they weren't new either. But it didn't seem to matter much at school since many kids were using their siblings' old stuff. Our school had uniforms, but things like socks, shoes, coats, and scarves were up to us. So everyone wore what they liked. My shoes were cheap ones that my mom bought for just $10. But there was one girl who was different. Her name was Alicia Whitehill, and she was in my class. Alicia always wore these expensive-looking leather shoes. Many girls wore sneakers, but I think most of them were synthetic leather. But rumors said Alicia's shoes were tailor-made by a craftsman and cost hundreds of dollars per pair. I remember my mom saying our rent was $300, so the fact that Alicia wore shoes more expensive than our rent was unbelievable to me. Even the logo on her socks seemed too fancy for a middle schooler. Later, I found out that brand was really expensive, and I was amazed that someone could wear such things. Alicia was considered one of the top people in the school caste system, and everyone said she was beautiful and wanted to be like her. It seems she was the daughter of some company's president, so it's understandable why everyone admires her. Indeed, Alicia was beautiful, and I secretly thought she was pretty cute too. Her hair was always so well kept and shiny, and her skin was white and clear, just like a doll's. Every time I passed by her, I caught a whiff of a pleasant scent, probably from some girly shampoo she used. The shampoo at my house was the cheapest one from the drugstore that my mom and I shared, and I didn't really like its smell. It even smelled a bit like chemicals, to be honest. Frankly, I thought it smelled like something an old man would use. Driven by a strong desire to escape this life of poverty, I focused intensely on my studies. I hoped that someday I could attend a prestigious high school and then a top university, which might lead to a job at a leading company. My older cousin, Jack, who was several years my senior, had attended the top high school in our state and then went on to a famous university in New York. Jack had landed a job at a major bank and was earning a decent salary, as he told me. Even though we were cousins, Jack always treated me kindly due to the age gap. I aspired to become a successful man like Jack, earning enough to ease my mother's burdens. According to Mr. Harrison, my teacher, there were ways for children from single-parent families to attend high school and university without spending much money, so I aimed for scholarships and honors programs. After school, I would go to the nearby state library every day. And there, I would often see Alicia. "What are you doing here?" she asked one day. Well, exams are coming up, so I thought I'd study for them," I replied. "That's great. Can I study with you? I'm a bit weak in math, and you're good at it, right? Could you help me?" she asked. Sure, that's fine," I said, and we studied together in whispers. Alicia had set aside the novel she was reading to learn math from me. "See, the product of the outer terms and the inner terms is correct, so DE equals BC. Try multiplying this part," I explained. "I see, this makes it easy. Thank you, I get it now," she said with relief. "Glad to hear it. Now let's try solving this equation," I suggested. "Okay, I'll give it a try," she agreed. Studying with Alicia made my heart race. I couldn't help but wonder if her closeness meant she liked me. Our elbows touched, and I secretly hoped she had feelings for me. The girly scent coming from her only added to my excitement. Being a teenager, I couldn't help but wish for a girlfriend, especially when some of my peers already had significant others. I imagined what it would be like if Alicia were my girlfriend, perhaps having library dates every day. Feeling my face turn red, I looked down to hide it. "Why are you looking down?" she asked. "Oh, it's nothing. Should we head home? It's about dinner time," I suggested. "Oh, right. I should get going before my mother starts to worry," she said. So you do say, mother. You really are a lady," I thought to myself. "Let me walk you part of the way," I offered. As I walked her home, I was amazed by the size of her mansion. The house was so large it felt more like a mansion, and the grounds seemed incredibly expansive. Walking from the gate to the parking area and the front door was so far that I felt a bit dizzy from the vastness. "See you, bye," she said as we parted. "Jer, thanks, bye," I replied. And then, to my surprise, Alicia asked me to be her boyfriend. It seems she was attracted to my good grades and intelligence. It's a bit embarrassing to say this about myself, but I guess I'm fairly good looking. You could say I'm what people call handsome. I was thrilled that she liked me and felt like I was on cloud nine. When we planned a date, I realized I had no decent clothes. The clothes I had from elementary school either didn't fit or were patched up, clearly showing our financial struggles. I was grateful that my mom had fixed them, but I couldn't wear those on a date. So, I asked my cousin Jack if he had any clothes from his middle school days. He said I could come over and take what I needed. So, I got some clothes from my cousin Jack, but they were clearly outdated. The jeans seemed more worn out than stylishly distressed. I thought maybe I could pass them off as intentionally vintage, so I decided to lie about it. The shirt was faded, and the print was peeling off. I figured I could just claim it was part of the vintage vibe. As for shoes, I only had my usual worn-out, cheap sneakers, so I decided to wear those. On the morning of the date with Alicia, I was excited. I was a bit nervous but happy about going on a date with a girl. I planned to use the allowance my mom gave me to take her to a burger joint. For someone from a poor, single-parent family like me, even a burger place was a treat. When I arrived at the meeting place, Alicia was already there, waiting. She looked elegant and pretty in a white bag, a pink dress, and a cardigan. Her stylish shoes made me regret my outfit choice. I felt shabby in comparison, and I felt bad for Jack's clothes. What's with that outfit? Isn't it kind of unfashionable? Alicia giggled at my outfit. Until then, I thought my poverty was a secret from my classmates, as I always wore the best clothes I had at home. Well, this is just some vintage stuff I've been into lately, I lied. That's a lie, right? You just got those from somewhere, didn't you? Eh? It's so obviously hand-me-downs. Did you think you could fool me? Well, this is, Look, I don't want to be mean, but you're from a single-parent family, right? You probably got those from a friend or relative. Oh, how embarrassing. No, these are from my cousin, and I don't want to hang out with someone dressed so poorly. It's embarrassing. If people think I'm dating someone so poor, I'd be mortified. Everyone will just stare and laugh. I'm going home. This was a waste of time. Alicia, wait, please. Goodbye, Michael. This is farewell. Thank you for everything. Alicia walked away, leaving me behind. I was sad to return home without even starting the date. But how did she know I was from a single-parent family? Since we first met at the library and I walked her home in my uniform, I didn't think I looked that poor. Someone must have told her about my family situation. Since I had the best grades in my class, there were a few who resented me. Kyle and Dylan were among them. They were always speaking ill of me, so they must have been the ones filling Alicia's head with nonsense. I despised both Kyle and Dylan. Afterward, Alicia ignored me in class and the hallways. She even made disparaging remarks about me. She would say the classroom smelled because of me, and open the windows, with Kyle and Dylan laughing crudely. It smells so bad. Must be someone who doesn't bathe, like a certain someone. We better open the windows. Yeah, it stinks because of that certain someone. Seriously, it's unbearable. Let's open all the windows. This ordeal continued, making my life a living hell, and incredibly, I ended up in the same class with Alicia, Kyle, and Dylan for 3 whole years. By the time I was in the 9th grade, I had become the most disliked student in my year. When our collected money went missing, Alicia blamed me. It must have been Michael because he's poor. He probably wanted it for his living expenses. Yeah, Michael must have stolen it. He's capable of that. Exactly. It had to be him. What a lowlife. Isn't that right, Michael? I didn't do it. I would never steal anything. You really don't know when to give up, do you? Poor people like you shouldn't even speak to Alicia. But I really didn't do it. Shut up. Only someone at the bottom would steal, right? Wait, I really didn't do it. Please believe me. But who else could the culprit be but you? Come on, confess. At that moment, when I didn't know what to do, Sophia, the class rep, came to my rescue. Why don't we ask Mr. Harrison to check again? It might have been misplaced. Sophia. We always put the collected money in that bag, but maybe it was put somewhere else this time. So, our homeroom teacher, Mr. Harrison, searched everywhere once again. It turned out that the money had already been put in the safe. It was terrible that I was almost blamed due to Mr. Harrison's oversight, but thanks to Sophia, I wasn't blamed in the end. Time passed, and I became a college student. Thanks to my academic excellence, I was able to attend university with a scholarship that covered my tuition. However, I still had to work part-time jobs to cover the costs of textbooks and transportation, as the scholarship didn't cover everything. My mom was working too, but we couldn't stretch our budget as before, so we were still living in poverty. Eventually, I graduated from university and entered the workforce. When I was about to turn 30, I noticed an invitation to a middle school reunion on Facebook, so I decided to read it. I don't have many good memories from middle school, but I'd like to see the people who were nice to me. Maybe I'll go. When I arrived at the venue, everyone was already having a good time inside. The married women had their maiden names on their name tags, so it was easy to recognize who was who. I thought to myself how people seemed to have changed yet remained the same. There was a nostalgic feeling seeing everyone's familiar faces. As I looked around, I saw Alicia sitting and drinking. Alicia's name tag still read white, which indicated she was still single. It seemed Kyle and Dylan were also single and were sitting around Alicia, completely smitten. Alicia noticed me and came over. "Oh, if it isn't Michael. Long time no see, what's with the suit?" Well, I came straight from work. I was supposed to be off today, but I got called in suddenly." "Hot work, you say? As if a job held by someone from a poor, single-parent background like yours could be anything significant." "Right, his family's poor, so that suit must be borrowed." "That's hilarious. A guy who can't even afford a decent suit is just the lowest of the low. Pathetic, Michael. It's so presumptuous for someone who's actually poor to wear something like that. The ragged look suits poor people better. This is more like it. Here." Alicia then splashed her beer on me, laughing loudly. Kyle and Dylan joined in the laughter. I was soaked from my head to my chest. "This is fun. You're the best, Alicia." "Yes, absolutely hilarious. Poor people should dress the part, right?" "Poor people should look the part." Right, Michael, you should go home dressed like that. Crawl back home like the bottom dweller you are." Alicia seemed drunk, swaying unsteadily. She might have been drinking before the reunion. Kyle and Dylan looked down on me, smirking, which infuriated me. I really wished these annoying guys would just disappear. I decided to head to the restroom. There were paper towels there, and I could use them to dry off. Just then, I ran into Sophia. She looked shocked. She used to wear braids and glasses in middle school, but now she had a bob cut and likely wore soft lenses. I recognized her from her name tag, but it took me a second to realize who she was. She seemed even more beautiful than before, and I found myself feeling a bit smitten. "Hey, Michael, what happened to you? Why are you all wet? What on earth happened?" "Well, you see, Alicia threw her beer at me." "What? She poured it on you? That's terrible. How could she do such a thing? That's the worst." As I was trying to dry myself off with paper towels in the restroom, Sophia helped me out. But then, Alicia came after us, intending to pour beer on Sophia as well. She was holding a beer bottle, grinning smugly. It was a defiant smile. I quickly stepped in front and grabbed the beer bottle firmly. Suddenly, there was a commotion outside, and then Kyle and Dylan burst in. "Wow, a Rolls Royce. Isn't that from Alicia's family? It's the first time I've seen such a luxury car." "Seriously, it's amazing. It really is a luxury car. Alicia's family is really something else. Man, I wish I could ride in it." Kyle and Dylan were making a fuss about seeing a Rolls Royce, a luxury car. Well, a Rolls Royce isn't exactly a car people see driving around every day, so their surprise was understandable. "Oh, I wonder if that's my father's car. But my father doesn't own a Rolls Royce. What's going on? Maybe he bought it today. Hee. Maybe he's trying to surprise me." Alicia went outside to check the Rolls Royce, but the chauffeur came out and said, "Mr. Johnson, your car is ready." Alicia looked stunned. "Hey, that's Alex, my company's chauffeur. Believe it or not, I'm actually a company president." "What? You're a president, Michael? That's not funny. There's no way you could own such a car and have a chauffeur. You were just a poor kid from a single-parent family." "Well, I was poor, but I worked hard since then. I boosted my performance at the first company I joined after graduating and then went independent. It's been incredibly profitable. I bet I'm earning more than your dad now. Ever heard of X Technical Solutions? Wait, X Technical. That's a really famous venture company. Yeah, that's my company. I don't show my face in the media, but I do a lot of interviews. Oh, and we do business with White Engineering too. That's my father's company. Yeah, I guess you didn't know. Well, it looks like you don't work, so you probably never thought about who I might be. To think you did all that without realizing I'm one of your father's business partners. Please, I'm sorry. Just don't do anything that might disadvantage my father. Please, I'm begging you. What to do? I've been hearing some bad rumors lately. Maybe it's time to cut losses. Please no, listen to me, please. I'm going to leave now. I was about to go home anyway, that's why I called my chauffeur, so, goodbye. Wait, please. Sophia, if you want to leave too, you're welcome to ride with me. You probably don't want to stay here any longer, right? Really? Then maybe I'll take you up on that offer. So, I paid for both our admission fees and decided to head home. Sophia kept thanking me all the way in the car. Thank you for earlier. I thought I was going to get beer poured on me too, but you saved me just in time. And thank you for paying the admission fee. No problem at all. Thank you, Sophia, for helping me clean up my soaked suit. I hope I didn't stain your clothes or anything. Are they okay? I'm fine. Nothing got dirty, and it's okay. My clothes aren't that expensive. A wash will do. But really, it's amazing that you can ride in such a car. You must have worked really hard, Michael. Well, it's a bit embarrassing to say it myself, but I did what I could. Being from a single-parent household, I was aware of the burden I placed on my mom, so I always wanted to make things easier for her. That's why I aimed for the top sales performance at the company I joined as a new grad. The incentive pay was good, and even though it felt wasteful to leave, I always wanted to start my own company. That's impressive. You've got real guts. I need to take a leaf out of your book. What are you doing now, Sophia? I'm a middle school teacher. I had today off because it's Saturday, but sometimes we have trips for extracurricular activities. I'm in charge of the tennis club at school even though I've never played tennis before. Really? That suits you, though. You always had the vibe of a serious, top student, so being a teacher is perfect for you. Do you think so? But being serious isn't enough. It's really stressful, and there are so many difficulties. But when I see my students, all that stress just disappears. It's bittersweet watching them graduate. But it's really nice when I randomly bump into them while shopping and see how much they've grown. Sophia had always been very serious and exactly the kind of person you'd expect to be a class rep in middle school. She was also in the student council, the epitome of diligence. It made perfect sense for her to become a teacher. But as Sophia said, being a teacher probably isn't just about being a virtuous saint. It's not a job for the unserious, though. After that, I kept thinking about Sophia. Maybe I really liked her. When I was in trouble with the beer incident, she was there trying her best to help me. The flutter I felt then must have been love, I realized. I had exchanged contact information with Sophia, so one day, I called her out. Since we both were off work, I invited her to have drinks together. We entered a slightly fancy bar, and Sophia and I enjoyed some drinks together. Sophia seemed to have a high tolerance for alcohol, as she could drink a lot without her face turning red. So, what did you want to talk about? You said you had something to discuss. That's why I came. Well, it's a bit odd to say this here, but would you go out with me? Since that time, I've been thinking about you non-stop. Remember when I was drenched in beer and you tried so hard to help me? I think I like you, Sophia. Is that so? I'm happy. I feel the same. Really? Sorry, I've actually liked you since middle school, but I was too shy to say anything and just kept quiet. I always thought you were cool because you were good at studies and very hardworking. Oh, and it's not because you're wealthy now. I genuinely admire your dedication to your work. I'm so glad you felt that way. I'm pretty happy too. And that's how we started dating. I think to myself how Sophia is such a hard worker and hasn't changed a bit from before. Her strong sense of justice makes me believe that if someone like her had been my teacher in middle school, those days would have been much more enjoyable. Sophia always praises me, which motivates me to work harder at my job, and I feel that she's there for me. I want to marry Sophia and build a happy family with her, providing her with a sense of security. That's why I'm striving to become a man worthy of her. When we both turned 30, I decided to propose to Sophia. I meticulously planned everything for Sophia's birthday in July. I had every detail of our date planned out, from the places we would visit to where we would dine. During the date, Sophia was so cheerful and lively, more like a young girl than the serious teacher she usually is. We then dined at a French restaurant with a beautiful night view, enjoying a course meal. Every dish was delicious, and it felt like a dream come true. The old me would have never imagined experiencing such luxury. But it was my determination to escape poverty through hard work and dedication that made this moment possible. When dessert was finished, I seized the moment to take out a ring. It was the engagement ring I had chosen. Sophia, this is my way of showing you how I feel. Would you marry me? I promise to love and cherish you for the rest of our lives. Please, will you be with me? Is this? Please, I'll make you happy. I'm so happy. Michael, I'll do my best to be a good wife too. Let's support each other as husband and wife. Thank you, Sophia. I love you. Me too. I love you. Following this, we visited each other's parents. I'm earning quite a bit now, so I've built a house for my mom. So, we're no longer living in that rundown apartment. My mother now lives comfortably in her own home. She seemed to like Sophia a lot, repeatedly thanking her to be with me. Sophia's parents also approved of me, which made me happy. They didn't hold any prejudice against me for being from a single-parent family and praised my efforts. Eventually, Sophia and I got married and now live together. I never wanted to constrain my wife, so I didn't ask her to quit her job. She could stop working if she wanted to, but if she wished to continue teaching, I would support her decision. I wanted to respect her choices. We no longer do business with White Engineering. It wasn't out of spite, but due to unfavorable rumors, which led to us cutting ties. The company was involved in tax evasion, and it seems that tax authorities have started an investigation. It's likely that Alicia's family will face tough times ahead. But as for us, we're living happily, and the past doesn't matter much anymore. We hope to continue enjoying life together and maybe start a family.